birthday cake?
No.
No, no cake.
I didn't get the
Well, it's still carrying, if for some reason it got to 22%, it stopped. And so everybody's dryers that we haven't used over the years, we're having to use, and they're being
We're taking it down to
about 14 and 15.
14.
Can't you just wait till January to take it, you won't have to do that?
only if it doesn't do anything, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the risk we take, especially with the weather.
We'll see how far that gets sometime, just to.
You really want to set me
Yeah. Like, if it's gonna rain, let's say, Wednesday, that just takes it all back up, I guess. Moisture comes in.
See that?
You gotta have a dry winter.
I like that.
Relative humidity.
Yeah.
Relative to how much you will it cover.
I hit it right there, and that's the blood vessel. No, I ain't got time to do that. I got things to do.
This time, we call our special meeting of Washington County Commissioners for order, and after which the county council opens their meeting, we would ask Dr. Nance if he would lead us in the pledge of flag, after which those who would so desire have a moment of silence.
All right, county council will now open this meeting.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Thank you very much. Welcome everybody. Discussed the bid opening was held yesterday at 4 o'clock, and I think Leo and Philip and Gerald were the ones there when the bids were opened, and maybe Tom. And Leo, you want to tell the
old one, meaning with a new bridge in with sufficient load carrying capacity for the use. I believe that we use a design bid, a design build type of contract. And with that in mind, you don't necessarily, I'm going to point out, you don't necessarily need to take the low bidder, a contractor or an organization who will give you a little bit better product. So you don't necessarily go with the low bidder, although there is advantage to doing that in many cases. October 7th, there were 3 companies invited to submit proposals. Those companies invited were all companies that had previously expressed interest in doing work in Washington County. They were CPI of Bedford, Indiana, Temple & Temple of Salem, Indiana, and Buxton Excavating of Scottsburg, Indiana. We were due yesterday at 4 o'clock. Those bids, CPI apparently chose not to submit. I prepared a tabulation received attorney and county auditor have a copy of those. If I like, if you don't mind, I broke down into several different items you might want to review, things you would consider in terms of selecting a contract to award this to. Price is the first item. Buxton Excavating, their price was $324,500. Temple & Temple, their price was $276,373. So if you consider that item only, you probably would want to award to Temple & Temple. The next consideration is how much time. Buxton indicated that after plans were approved, they would need 180 days to build the bridge. Temple and Temple indicated it would take them approximately 90 days to build the bridge. If that was the factor that you, that was your predominant factor, that would be you would probably want to award that to Temple and Temple. The next item is were the required bidding documents submitted. Those bidding documents were bid bond, performance bond, and insurance certificate. Buxton said that they wouldn't submit them if they were awarded the contract, so they did not submit them with the bid. Temple and Temple did submit those. Tom, I think we had a discussion yesterday that Temple and Temple submitted the insurance, the bid bond, but not the performance bond. I looked at that document that you looked at, and I think that was a performance bond. So I could be wrong with that. I indicated that yes, they were in compliance with those. So with that issue, you'd probably want to award to Temple and Temple. The next thing you would ask yourself is, well, what of these companies, which one really demonstrated that they have the ability to do the work? And by that, did they indicate the material types were necessary, the size of the bridge, the suppliers, did they have the adequate suppliers, did they have the subcontractors listed, and did they have all the equipment that was needed? Well, in both of those cases, and for both Temple and for Buxton, they both indicated that they were capable, they had everything. There was a slight advantage, Temple and Temple, because they indicated with a drawing what kind of what the size of the bridge was. Now, the last item I wanted to talk about was miscellaneous other factors. You don't necessarily need to consider these. There was nothing outstanding that I can think of with a Buxton proposal. With Temple, there's a couple things. Number one, they did submit a sketch of the bridge, so I get a little bit more confidence that of what we're going to get for a final product, which also indicated the size of the beams that were necessary. That was not there with Buxton. It wasn't required necessarily, but it was there with Temple and Temple. Temple submitted a time chart showing graphically exactly what activities and when they were. And thirdly, Temple offered an alternate for weathering steel of an additional $3,500. Not necessarily in favor of that, but it was something you might want to consider. With that, your technical review committee, consisting of Mr. Marshall, myself, and Gerald Chang, we met yesterday, and I believe, speaking for them, we're leaning toward recommending that this Board of Commissioners award the contract to Temple and Temple for the price of $276,373. Did I miss anything?
If you would, talk about the weathering steel. Can you?
There was a type of steel, it's called A588. It's a high-strength steel, and allegedly it resists rust and corrosion. That's what it was designed for. It's been around for about 30 or 40 years. Lately, they've discovered that when it's in a wet environment, it probably doesn't do very good. So anytime you have a bridge that's over a waterway, it probably doesn't work very well. This one is high enough that it might be dry most of the time, and it might do pretty well, but for an additional $3,500, it might actually be worse also. So for that reason, I don't recommend it. They use a lot of it on interstate bridges when one road is over another road.
Overpasses.
Yes.
Any questions of Leo? Well, thank the committee for getting together to make a recommendation, and then you've heard, and if there's nothing further, we would ask for recommendation from the two bidders.
I got one question, John.
Yeah.
Leo, if this is accepted this morning, when will construction start?
They still need to complete, they need to finish the engineering. They indicated construction would start about the middle of November.
needs to be done as quickly as possible, that's for sure. If there are no other questions, we would entertain a motion to accept one of these two bids.
I make a motion that we accept Temple & Temple for the 276,373, not to 3,500 on the alternate bid.
Thank you, Phil, for a second.
Second.
Thank you, David. Phil made the motion, David second, that we accept the bid of Temple & Temple. That's the alternate proposal. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
So you'll get in touch then with them because all we've got is some preliminary engineering to complete that, and
They need to sign contract, there's a number of things need to take place.
then we'll do a notice to proceed. Okay.
If you come up, please. John would like to make a proposal to us.
Hi, I'm Shauna Schweigman with Apex Benefits. Today we wanted to talk to you about cost savings on your health insurance. Apex Benefits is an endorsed program of the Association of Indiana Counties, which you are a member of. And I actually have Frank Egan here with me today that's going to talk to you about the product we have called Cost Plus. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. And thank you for having us on your agenda today for your meeting. I'm very excited to go in general overview of the Cost Plus program, which is an innovative program that Apex Benefits pioneered about 3 years ago. We, as a benefits brokerage firm, work with more county governments than any other employee brokerage firm in the state. This program has saved our clients a substantial amount of money. I'm going to give you a few examples. The city of Marion, about 250 employees, after the first year of implementing this Cost Plus program, they saved, after the first year, $1.5 million. Cass County, after their implementation, after a year, they saved 30% of their costs on medical claims from the previous year. These are substantial savings, and in another nationwide study, in 2011, 39 clients that were on this Cost Plus program saved an average of 34%. In 2012, 70 clients on the Cost Plus program saved 31%. And why it works is because Apex Benefits has a strategic partnership with GPA, a third-party administrator, and ELAP, a medical auditing firm, and co-fiduciary, who also provides legal services. The cost of medical care is going up and up and up. And in most counties, medical expenses are one of the biggest line items in the budget. So this really attacks that. And in the traditional way, the way you attack these rising costs is to kind of tweak the plan design of your employees, maybe raise their deductible, increase the amount of contribution they have to make towards their insurance premium, and then hope that your network provides better discounts year after year. What we're finding is that a lot of these PPO networks, like Cigna, Sagamore, they negotiate with hospitals and facilities to have a discounted rate. But what we're finding is that most hospitals, and it varies from hospital to hospital, there's no real uniformity as to what they charge for various procedures. But on average, nationwide, the markup on a procedure when the patient gets the bill is anywhere from 300 to 600%. That's quite a markup. And with the PPO approach, they're giving you a discount off that price. What the Cost Plus program does is it pays the hospital and facilities what the procedure actually cost them, plus a 12% profit, which is a reasonable profit. Or we pay them what Medicare would reimburse them, plus 20%, which again, whichever the greater, is what they will take. And since we've been running this, 87% of the time, the hospital or the facility takes the payment. ELAP has an appeals procedure if the hospital disputes the charge, by which they can work with ELAP and the auditors. And in many cases, we've sided with the hospital and said, okay, we owe you a little bit more money on this one. But in most cases, it's resolved And the member's protected, the plan's protected because ELAC has a co-fiduciary status. So if a patient does get balance billed by the hospital, then they call us, ELAC gets involved, and it goes away. In many cases, the member benefits after the first year stay the same or actually get better. And then we don't really negotiate with the hospitals. We don't negotiate with the facilities. We pay them on the cost-plus method. Now, the members will still have their same doctors. That won't change. Those doctors will be in a national network, and so nothing changes there. And together, this is really the only responsible way to do this program. So be happy at another time to have Matt McEwen from GPA do a webinar where you guys can go into more detail. But since we didn't have a lot of time, I just wanted you to have a general overview. And then we'll pass out some packets when we're done here with you guys to give you some more information. But are there any questions so far?
What's across the county around that you service?
With the Cost Plus program, I would say Cass County. Benton County is going to go to it in January.
So how many counties would that make into?
Well, 2 counties. In the city of Marion, of course, they use it as well.
Marion, Cass, and Dillon.
Pardon?
Marion, Cass, and Dillon, you said there's one.
Benton.
Benton.
Yeah. Mhm.
The county's has, the city of Marion.
The city of Marion,
I
yeah.
know.
Yes. Yes.
This is still a self-insurance program with a, okay.
You said something about balanced billing and the third party getting involved, and then all of a sudden it goes away. What can you kind of elaborate on that a little bit more?
Sure. So when the patient gets a bill and they call us, ELAP gets involved and starts working with the provider.
And ELAP is, what is ELAP?
They audit, they work with their clients are self-funded programs like yours, and they audit and do legal work for their clients so that when this happens, a lawyer will work with the provider, and in the case that it does go to adjudication, whether it's when it's in a court.
So when a provider would sue an employee because they're wanting the balance bill taken care of, then while this an accounting firm and a law firm taking up for the employee.
And then every time it's gone, you hurt their credit because, the dispute, you can't ding their credit. So that's where the legal services come into play real strong. And that's no extra charge, that comes with everything.
Any other questions?
Is Cass County, how many employees would they have?
150. Marion?
For the city of Marion?
Previous year claim.
What type of money would that be?
I can get that for you. I just know the percentage on that one.
Do you know in Cass County before this about how much they were paying in health insurance per worker hour?
Our client manager does. I didn't bring them today. I apologize. But I can get that for you as well.
That'd be information I'd be interested in.
We'll get it for you.
Marion's a big city, how many employees do they have?
250.
The main point of, you was gonna have somebody put together a webinar that'll explain this all more in detail to us also.
Correct. Matt McEwen from the GPA. Correct.
And GPA is the third-party administrator.
Correct.
In Texas.
What's GPA stand for?
Group
Sean,
and
you ready?
pension administrators.
Do what?
Group and pension administrators.
Most of us have very bad memories about GPAs.
Really? Okay.
No, I mean,
Oh, gotcha. I got it. I'm a little slow on the uptick.
For yourself.
Yeah.
lost.
Basically went to IU.
Graduated.
Our business cards are in the packets, you can pass out as well.
Big fella.
Yeah. Can you pass them out now?
Appreciate it. I'd like to see the package.
Of course, I did pretty well. I think well up to level 4.0 in school, but of course they were still working on a 6.0 scale.
That's the problem with that.
That shows all now, yeah.
We'll get you that information. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What's your last name?
Egan, E-A-G-A-N.
Do you have an email address or some contact information
It's in here.
for someone here to get the information as far as?
Oh, no. Who would I send that
So
to?
it's maybe the auditor and she can distribute it? Okay.
We've got it.
Okay.
Thanks, Sarah.
Commissioners, how do we want to proceed with, as far as, do you have a set agenda for this meeting as far as order?
Basically, it's insurance right now.
Have you got somebody else
Is
interested?
there
Anyone else want to make an insurance presentation this morning? Never? Okay, come on up, Mark. Shauna, Frank, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Hey, Mark. Hey.
Got some trees.
I've also got a sheet that shows a little more detailed information about premium. That's this. Okay.
This is what you emailed yesterday?
Yes.
All right, I've got it.
Well, it's got a little bit different information.
Okay. Must be an economic paper.
Yeah.
Changes daily.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. Apologize for my voice, too. If you look at this, I'm presenting a little bit different view or take on this. Currently, you guys are a self-funded plan, and self-funding, no matter how you fund it or how you do it, there's not a single one number. And what I'm recommending is you go to a defined contribution plan, and you will have a number that you know that's all you're going to spend, because it's going to be a defined contribution. You're going to put out X dollars, however you do it, per employee or whatever, and that will be a single number that you're going to have. If you look at this sheet, I tried to get my thoughts together a little bit on this. The steps would be to change the defined contribution plan, set up a FSA with a PRA, which the next page or so you'll see what that is, but it's a flexible spending account with a premium reimbursement account inside it. Continue offering employee access to the current clinic you have, and then meet with each employee to explain options and evaluate their situation. The defined contribution plan on the next page, you'd set aside an amount for each employee that would take care of their premium on the exchange. This amount times the employee numbers would be your limit for that year. So budgetary processes in the future, you would know what you're going to spend. You wouldn't have a last minute change in the numbers or you wouldn't have a change the following year as you go through the year. Another big plus is the current clinic, the on-site clinic. Continue to offer access as would allow the least disruption to all the employees. They're already going there, they're already getting their generic drugs, their labs, et cetera. And studies show about 32% of the people never get into their deductible, or that's the only ones that get into their deductible. So about 68%, over half the people, don't get into their deductible anyway. So most of the people, over half of them, wouldn't see a change in their plan. They'd still be going to the clinic, still be getting their generic drugs, still be getting their labs, all that would be the same. There wouldn't be any change. If they got into their deductible, started using their plan, then they would go on to whatever plan they had chosen. And a positive of this is they can choose the plan they want. So it's not like you're going to offer them a certain plan or two options of plans or however you do it like it's been done in the past. Each individual person can pick the plan they want, deductible, whatever it is, co-insurance, whatever level. They can pick like on the bronze plans, you will look at it that direction, or a high deductible plan, or they can pick a very rich plan. But it's to fit their particular situation. Meeting with all employees, you'd have to meet with all employees individually because each person's individual situation is different. There's many criteria, but total household income, number of people in the house, how many people is going to be on the plan. I mean, there's a lot of criteria involved. So you have to look and sit down with each individual person. They would get to pick the plan that fit them the best. A huge positive for this is there's no penalty in 2014, and that's about a $220,000 or so. I mean, that's a guesstimate number, figure that you wouldn't be spending this year to try this. So that's a huge change right there, huge savings. Come 2015, which would be next year sometime in 14, you'd reevaluate it, see if you wanted to continue it. If you look on the very back page, it's some ideas or basically this is guesstimates because the exchange is not working yet. Everybody's aware of that. So I used the Kaiser calculator to try to figure out something that would be able to put some numbers together. If you're looking at probably expected next year, 1.4, somewhere in that neighborhood. And if you do the defined contribution, you're looking at the totals there. If you look down in the middle of the page, I used an example of a premium reimbursement account of $4,000. That's $560,000 expense to the county. The clinic's about $120,000. You got admin of about $10,000. That's a total of $690,000. If you subtract that from the expected, probably what your claims would be next year of 1.4, you're looking at about $700,000 savings. There at the bottom is just other options, 3, 4, or 5. That would be the savings, depending on what you allocated for the employees.
So let me ask you, if the county was to accept this, and we would go with the 3, 4, or 5,000 mark, the employees itself don't have to come to you. They can go anywhere they want. They still use this as an amount to gauge by, so they've got the luxury of going someplace else if they want. Or they can come to you,
Correct.
Pick out the plan, and discuss it.
And I suppose this is all predicated off the fact that the exchanges work January 1.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Just a question.
So a PRA's premium reimbursement account.
Correct.
The county would, instead of paying a premium for a comprehensive group single plan for everyone with a set or a choice of deductibles, we would have a defined contribution of a flat amount per employee, and you've thrown examples out of $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, up to the local government to pay. That would be submitted to reimburse the employees and their, whatever plan they pick.
Correct.
Based on whether they're individual, family, whatever, may or may not use all of that.
Correct.
So what if we did a $4,000, I'll just pick a middle of the road, and it's an individual employee who does not jump onto a family plan, or it's someone who is eligible, but is on their spouse's or parents' health insurance, what happens to that money?
If they did not, if they're not reimbursed for their premiums, then that money reverts back to the county. To be used, basically you would use it the following year to reduce your expense the following year.
And this is set up in a PRA, it's not handed to the employee?
Correct, correct. If you'll look at that other sheet, the one that's got a lot of numbers on it, this is where I took each employee. Some of the employees, just from, I knew who they were, and I knew like maybe they were single, not married, and, you know, didn't have another option. So I know that some of these numbers are very close, at least as close as the calculator is. But others, I don't know their individual situation. I don't know if they can go get on with their spouse. I don't know. But the thing is, each employee would have that dollar figure there to reimburse them for premium. And if you look at these numbers, a lot of them, the average is $2,000-some. But I'm sure the average is low because I don't know, like if I don't know the total family income. I knew their income, but I didn't know the total family income. And as that income goes up, then the subsidy would go down. So that would increase their expense. But there's some, there's like, I think it was 12 or 14 that would move to Medicare. So that's a, you know, cut and dry, pretty cut and dried expense there that you know it's going to be less than $4,000 probably. I mean, pretty sure. Then there are some employees that them and their spouse both work at the county. And the way I figured it, every one of those would come out very good.
Do we know what the current plans that'll be listed on the exchange, how they compare with what the employees have now?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously they're saying bronze, silver, gold, platinum. Inside those, they've wiggled around the deductibles, the co-insurances, and their current plans now are $1,000 and $2,000. So they probably, well, depending on their subsidy, they might be able to get a $1,000 plan, but most of them are probably going to be at the $2,000 level, I would think at least. Also, the networks are going to change. I mean, there's going to be some changes here. And that's why I brought up the fact at the clinic. Most people that don't get into the deductible, they're not going to see any changes.
With the gold, silver, platinum, and then within inside of those boundaries, there's still working room to make a different combination if you want it, right?
Right.
So I mean, it's not going to be one plan fits all.
No.
This is not what I want, so we can change our deductible, we can have it, we can still stay within the goal, and still work within these 3, 4, and 5 numbers here.
I mean, obviously, I'm presenting basically losing this group because I've written the group in the past. And so I'm presenting me not writing the group. So, I mean, I think it's the best thing for the county monetarily, and I don't think the employees are going to get hurt. So, if not, I'd be trying to find some other way to keep the group. But I'm presenting this because I think I think you guys, I mean, this may not be the best option, but from the last joint meeting we had and the financial situation, I think this is a good option. The best option would be to not offer it at all. I mean, for the county monetarily.
Do we know the difference, as we sit here today, between coverages and the other than descriptions of bronze, silver, gold, platinum? What are those differences in coverage?
Yeah, we can get some plan designs where it would show the deductibles, the co-insurances, and all the, the drug coverage.
But is the difference in deductibles and all that, or is it in coverages? Or does the law mandate?
Well, the law mandates the coverages. I mean, you're going to have all the essential benefits are there, and it's going to be a mandated coverage.
If across the board?
Across the board. So you're not going to have one plan that doesn't have an essential benefit, no. But what they've done is they've wiggled it to have an actuarial value. They've wiggled deductibles or co-insurances or whatever, and they've tried to make, because some people don't mind to pay a high deductible, and others it bothers them. So they've tried to be basically marketing.
And looking at the insurance itself, with what we've had, with what we're gonna go to for the protection of the employee, do you see them as losing or gaining?
Depends on if you're talking about coverage, dollars, expense. Some of them, they're spending money now for maybe a spouse or even their own cost. And with this, and if you put in the premium reimbursement account, it's free. It's gonna be free for them. They're still gonna be able, the people that are still going to the clinic and have the premium reimbursement account would be better. The ones who end up getting into the deductible, and let's say they chose a $4,000 deductible, then it wouldn't be better. But that was their choice on the front end. So, basically, the subsidies are skewed to help those that make less. If you make if you're a family of four, make over the 94,000, then you get zero. So, as you increase the family size even lower than, it changes it around. So, if you make a lot less, I mean, like I figured one just yesterday, and it was a family of 5. The guy made $30,000, his wife didn't work, and this wasn't a county employee. And I think he got like I think his expense was gonna be like $600 or something a year. But if you lowered his income, then he qualified for Medicaid. So there was the subsidy wasn't there because then he had to go to Medicaid. So everybody's situation is different. That's why it's imperative to sit down and see how it fits.
How long will it take if employees would just to come to you to sit down, to devise a plan so that they can walk out knowing they're gonna be covered? Can they walk out on the street, fall down, and go to the directly to the hospital and be covered?
Yeah. I mean, it depends on how many questions they have. I mean, you know that. How long does it take to put a fireplace in? I mean, you know, it depends on if they want it moved in the middle of it.
You can do it pretty quick.
But so, I mean, it depends on, you know, the questions they have, how easy it is. I mean, if it's a young single guy and he comes in and, you know, he takes the cheapest plan, that doesn't take very long. That'd be pretty quick. But if it's involved, a family, the guy doesn't know how much his wife makes, I don't know. I mean, there's, you know, a lot of different criteria.
Let's hear from the county council, their comments and feelings.
Well, I know for what we've got right now, I mean, this has got out of hand for one, and that's the reason we're having all these discussions in there. I mean, for the county-wise, where we're at with this self-insured, we go in there and do budgeting processes, you know, and last year, I think we were going to look at about 900 to 1.2 million, maybe 1.3 at the max. And here we're at 175. So I don't have a very good feeling about what our insurance is about, the way we've been managed so far, you know, with our insurance, because for the circumstances that's happened, we've ballooned well up and above our budget. That's put our county in a crisis as far as our budget concerns. We're having to do things right now as far as the fund to get us through to the end of this year. To me, as a businessman in there, I can't afford those type of open-ended costs, and I don't think county government can either. Whenever I buy an insurance package for the company, you know, for my company, and for my employees, I pretty well know what's going to come out of my pocket. That hadn't been the case here. I mean, we've come in here at the maximum figure of about another $500,000 or $600,000 out of our general fund that we didn't have to start with. So we got to get a hold of this thing one way or the other. Now, my trust to the insurance companies is about like this, okay? And all this government type of thing, they can't even get a web page up right in there. So everybody's scrambling around trying to figure out where to put all the squares and the zeros all together in this process. And you know, here we're trying to make a decision as far as what the people of the county, you know, with their health insurance, and it's a huge impact as far as retaining employees and getting employees back in here, to work for the county. I just got to put a thing in there, I call it blackmail by the insurance company, that I had to act by November 1 for one plan, or if I'd acted later on, that in 2014, they'd say my insurance is going to raise 35%. So in that blackmail, I thought there was law against it. I got two lawyers up here. I thought there was a law.
Business or something.
It's not like a business, oh, there we go. But anyway, in the process of this, I do not deal with insurance. That's not my business at all. And in the process of us being self-insured, that put us into an not an arm's length away, but elbow deep into it. And I don't particularly like that. I've talked to other counties that's been involved in self-insurance, and they're all scratching their head, where they're at. I've heard a cost of $6.80 an hour, man hour or woman hour, to $7.40. Was that politically correct with that?
Employee hour.
Employee hours. So,
That works.
that's an expense, that we look at an hourly wage that's up and above, that is part of our employee package in there and cost to the county government. I wish I had that magic wand to figure out which one to put my point on to. But I know it's got to be different than what we're doing right now, because this balloon thing up on the top, we can't continue to do that. We've done it 2 or 3 years in a row, and it's just killing us. It's just killing us. And for what I'm seeing, what's being paid out per employee, I think we've got, 99 employees that's actually taking the insurance?
About 120.
About 120 that's actually?
Employees plus family.
All right, but we got about 120 people. All right, so 17.5, 1,750,000 on 120. That's got out of hand.
Correct. I mean, we can't talk about it here due to HIPAA, but there's reasons for that.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
I know.
Okay.
And it's all part of this process. But
Right.
see, what I'm thinking about, if we go back to individual plans in there, that risk management goes back to that.
Correct. And you
Instead
have
of
a
on the
defined
county
number.
level, the risk management goes back on the individual case.
Are you done with your?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, Val, I'll start mine. He ended his, I'll start mine. I'm really concerned, and I think rightfully so, about going on to the exchanges and what have you, if they'll be ready. Come January 1 or whatever, there's a lot of folks sitting out here that would like to know if they're going to be covered or not. And I think we have an obligation, to know that this thing's going to work. And I'm not seeing any signs of, I'm not feeling real good about it right now. Okay? So, we heard another option this morning. We heard your option. And right now, I'm kind of like Dave on this self-insurance deal. I sat with Sean, and I pronounce your last name, but you apologize for your voice. Mine's like this the rest of my life. And I ain't going to apologize. But here's the deal. We got to come up with something in a short period of time. Like everybody put their thinking caps on to see what that could be. The exchange deal, if that worked beautifully, I'd be prone to say that's maybe the way to go. All right? But I have a concern about whether it will be or not. And I don't think that concern is without a foundation here this morning. So, I think we need to do several things, and I'll look at the commissioners. Ultimately, you all have that decision, but I think we need to think about getting some pricing, maybe from Apex, see how that's going to work. I know you put a lot of thought into this, and I appreciate that. I mean, you showed some selflessness by giving up your deal to say this might be a better way. But by the same token, I don't know if we can hang our hat on that right now.
Well,
To
I didn't
answer-
read a whole lot more.
No, yeah. I'm not a council person, obviously, but working with David and Ben, Michelle, Phil, I'm kind of to answer your question, Mr. Fultz, as president of the commissioners. What we've learned in the last year, in 2013, is that for good or for bad, what we know is that the county budget cannot take anything more than a 1.3, maybe a 1.4 expense for health insurance. I mean, it just, for the employees who don't know, we're borrowing monies from another fund right now to be paying bills sitting in the auditor's office for health insurance. And that's not your fault, that's not our fault, there's no point in blaming anybody, it's just the way it is. But what we've learned is, it's kind of like several years ago when people said, how far can gas go? And we kind of learned America didn't like $4 a gallon gas. We know we can't spend $1.7 to $2 million on a health insurance plan in this county and run the county. Just can't be done. I mean, we could do it. We could do it. Close down some services, lay some people off. Then we got to pay those people unemployment because we're self-insured on unemployment. So if we lay people off, we're only really saving about 25% of a salary. And I'm not saying anybody on this council or anybody on those commissioners want to do that, all right? What we've learned is 1.3 is pretty much the maximum this county can spend on health insurance. Self-insured, give it to the county employees, let them go do with it, whatever. But if we're looking, Mr. Commissioner, at, what is the council's obligation to employees and the taxpayers? We know with the growth quotient what's coming in roughly. And there aren't a lot of other sources of income that we're going to be able to tap into if it goes above $1.2, $1.3 million. And that's it. Whatever kind of plan we can structure with that is what we can live with. Once we start topping 1.3, you're really scraping the auditor's office and the treasurer's office for checks to be able to pay. I don't know if that helps you or doesn't help you, but I think that's what we can learn from the last 60 days on our health insurance.
Yeah.
Well, we can't go through this again in 2014.
Well, I've kind of relayed in there as far as the county council wise, as far as the money in the budget and the things we're doing right now as far as we've reviewed, 1.2513, you have to find a health insurance package that fits that. That's pretty much it.
I mean, unless the commissioners want to come with some readjustment of other funds and those, and I know you don't. I mean, that's the problem. I know you don't. David, and Phil, I see. I know you don't want to. I mean, that's the problem. It's not feasible to do that either. If we start doing that, we're really getting into other services that are in the county.
Everybody's upset with this insurance. We all are. We're looking at budget.
Being upset.
I think we need to thank Mark for his work, for what he's done. He has been, and I've called him too much. But we're trying to save for the employees. We're trying to save for the county to maintain. We have to stay within the budget. There's too many questions. These people can't come and give us today. They've got their hands tied. We know, again, it comes down to us and the bottom line of where we could go, what we can work with. I don't like self-insurance. I didn't like self-insurance 2 years ago when I first heard it. And it proved the point that we don't have the resources to cover major stuff. And that's why I'm leaning against. But knowing we're going to have to come back and look at this again next year with whatever plan we come up with, we almost know right now it's going to happen. Me personally, I like to know fixed numbers, and to do that, I'm looking at a fixed number of the 3, 4, and 5 with the recoup. And I'm still concerned of the employee to make sure that they've got the best possible insurance we can provide. I know the taxpayer says, why do we have to worry about it? Well, we do, because they are good workers. Somebody's got to do these things. And these are the employees we count on.
Pre-existing, both of you, pre-existing conditions.
January 4, or 1 to 14, or, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't matter from what.
Well,
There
they
is
can
none.
get it, but
There
they
is no
can't-
pre-existing.
Well, you're covered, but I mean, are they gonna be limited to what plans they take? Is that gonna affect,
There's no
There's
question even.
There's no underwriting on,
okay, there's
on
no
health.
underwriting it in.
On health.
Okay.
Rhonda, we got,
I've got numbers. We're uninsured, and so I've done some research. And from what I can tell, non-Obama numbers, non-Obama website numbers, about $2,500 per person to be insured. Our family of 4 would qualify for a $9,000 policy, which would probably be, in real numbers, probably 10 or 12. And that would be a catastrophic insurance policy to be avoided, avoiding the penalty. But in Indiana, one of the biggest things is that if your income is below $30,000, Indiana, this is from the Indy newspaper, Indiana, like about half the states, has so far decided not to go along with the law's expansion of Medicaid, the joint federal state health care program for the poor. That means that an estimated 400,000 Hoosiers who could have enrolled in Medicaid through the exchange will not be eligible. I'm going to, IndyStar.com. So, those are the numbers that you're facing. If your income is below $30,000, then you will not get reimbursed in the state of Indiana. But from what I understand, you will not be penalized either. So, but there are some numbers, some base numbers out here in the wilderness that may help you make some decisions.
I'm going to throw a philosophical thought out there. One of the issues is President Hoare brought up of the cost per employee hour that he quoted from your own personal experience with your business, right?
Well, what I picked up was off of self-insured, I did cost of what the insurance policy, cost as far as the individual employees. But the hour rate that I put out was county governments.
Okay.
It was county governments, it was Jasper County, some different commissioners who in a meeting I was in, I asked them directly the question about how much your insurance was costing per hour. In fact, the Jasper Commission brought that up in that issue, so we went around the table. And I think we kind of up here with rough figures, around $6.82 an hour for this county. And there, and I heard as much in that comment throughout the state up to $7.40 an hour.
One of the things about doing this defined contribution is it puts the onus on the employees as opposed to the employer as far as, we're able to budget precisely, here's what we're going to pay out for insurance each year. What you do with it, you're on your own. And to the extent, I think you might hear arguments both ways, but to the extent that our risk pool may differ from the ideal or the average, that eliminates that from a broader spectrum standpoint. How to tactfully say that, but it basically eliminates that as a concern. Here's what the county is going to pay out each year for health insurance premiums, and I think we've seen some positive steps in the last 3 years with our clinic,
Wellness.
with our wellness program, and so it seems to me like this really kind of a big step and a different option, but it seems to me to be palatable in it from a budgeting standpoint. It's pretty clear cut. Here's what we're going to pay out, and what the employees do with that is up to them. And I think it also provides the employees with more options.
Yes.
I did attend in June a seminar, and one of the segments that I attended was on the exchanges, and consultant, I forget what state he was from, spoke, and they did some they ran some surveys to see, okay, here's what employers are offering their employees. And then we would open it up and say, okay, here's the types of plans that are going to be offered. And for companies that had group plans, they were finding that less than 20% of the employees were actually picking a coverage plan for their individual situation that mimicked what the employee was offering in a group plan. And they also found that the spectrum of choices by individual employees was evenly distributed among the options available. So when the employer says, okay, here's a group plan and the coverage options we're going to offer you, I think it was less than 20% of the employees, when given a choice, actually picked an individual plan for their family that mimicked what the employer offered under the group health plan. Everybody, when given the option to cover something for their individual family situation, picked something that didn't match what the employer offered, if that was the choice. So, just a thought.
Yeah, insurance, Mark knows that I don't think too much of anyway. I've been into it with him for a long time. They're kind of like lawyers, they're evil necessities that you gotta have. I don't really know what the best answer is. The only thing that I see though is that this is one option that we could actually set an amount per employee that we could actually use during budget time. I know in the past 5 years, we've come in here in August and tried to guesstimate a budget for insurance because we never did have the facts. The numbers weren't in, and we couldn't really set the insurance to where it ought to be. Now, at one point, self-insured was really a good option for us. But we found out in the past 2 years, it only takes one case and it'll eat your lunch real quick and real fast. So I think we're going to have to put our heads together, because the one thing that I know that we want to do, and I know there's a lot of employees that are, we have employees that are single mothers, we have a lot of different arrangements in our employees, and we want to make sure that we take care of our employees. That's going to have to be a must. So what we need to do is take a look, and I'm thankful that you would volunteer to sit down with each individual employee, which you told us you would, and sit down and work on an individual case basis to see what type of a stipend that the council would need to come up with in order to cover all of our insurers, all of our people. I really have a question though, is the amount of time it would take, because we're looking at doing something for what date? January 1? Things need to be in place. And this is October 29th,
2 months.
correct? We have 125 employees,
Okay, thank you.
and we still don't know from the government what the numbers are. Now, the last news flash I heard was that by the end of November, we'd have that. Is that true?
Well, it's what I heard, yeah.
But that's subject to change. And
We've got another issue too. We have employees that their husband or wife is on another insurance plan, but then they have to know in advance, you know, because they might even want to take it. They may want to get on their wife's insurance for their husband.
Correct.
Well, there's time windows there too that people need to know. So I guess it's a timing issue. I got a problem with the cost, and I got a problem with the timing issue both.
If their open enrollment is a different time frame, and they lose coverage here, they can go on. I mean, that's a qualifying event, so that's not a problem.
Anytime they could make a
Right, it's a qualifying event, when they lose coverage,
Okay, so they can move.
yes. It's just not a qualifying event if you change your mind. You know, you just can't jump, but,
Yeah.
but them losing coverage here, that would be.
I guess I need to ask the president of the council, when do we need to get together again after we study these figures?
Yeah, I'm just going through here, in there, in some figures in here that's out here with some of the proposals. I got a question here to ask. What we have on our current insurance policy, where we're estimating at 175 right now, that's dealing with all the families involved in that too, right? That's just not employees.
Correct.
All right, but with this sheet that we've got in front of us has the number of employees, you know, with no names or anything, just
Right.
in reference and with their premiums and stuff.
Right.
And I've come up with that there's 118 on this listed on there.
Okay.
And then I've got 14 of them that are actually Medicare, so they're pink blocked in there.
What's over in the, is that birth dates?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, we got some old people here.
Well, what I'm going at in there,
No, Diane, I'm one of them, so.
I looked at this, and if you were looking for this stipend of $4,000 as a possibility in there, there's only 8 of them that could
Correct.
cover their policy.
What if we went to 5?
Do what now? There's only 8 that would cover it.
There was only 8 that it wouldn't cover,
That it wouldn't, oh, okay, yeah.
that it wouldn't cover.
Would the 5,000?
5,000 would catch all but, I think, 1 or 2. 2,
What about
3.
6,000?
3, 6,000, same 3.
You gotta allow for some miscalculation.
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
I was gonna say, this
I mean,
is all the guidance.
but this is all we got to work with figures here, you know, so I'm kinda looking at these different things in there.
If you're looking at some of those numbers, there, I mean, because I did this, like, there's one of them there that's a pretty high number, but they would actually, it's a couple, and they would actually have 2 of the numbers. So like if it was 4, they'd have 8.
Yeah, but they're all separate here on the.
Well, I know, but,
They're all
because
separate.
you don't see the names there. If you see
Yeah, I
the
know,
names.
but if you were to couple them together,
Yeah.
possibility that the combination would
Yes,
be below
yes.
that.
Mhm.
So, Dave, what you're saying is if we come up with I guess you call it a stipend?
I don't know what you call
I
it.
don't know what.
You'd call it a PCA.
Like for all our employees on insurance.
PRA, I'm sorry.
$5,000, okay, out of 1.7 million versus the employees that's on the insurance, how much of the savings that would be?
Well, the 5 is, 569,000.
Well,
If you're looking at when the answer to David's question about when you want to get back together,
yeah.
are you going to do that on the council commissioners meeting?
Could you
November
have,
26th?
let me ask the Apex, could you have something together by
That's
next
last
Monday
Tuesday.
for a presentation?
Next Monday.
I mean, you're going to want them to come in and look at figures and look at past history, and you're going to want figures, they're going to have to sit down and.
I'm asking
What
them.
our costs are.
We can
I mean, I guess we need like the census and.
Yeah.
things
we
like
need all your
that.
information.
19th?
See, that's what I'm thinking, realistically.
Yeah, but that's getting late in the
Yeah,
game.
okay, you want to try to push them to do it on Monday then? You're the auditor's office is going to be the one doing the work, so. Yeah.
Our next council meeting is the 4th, and the next commissioners meeting is when, the 19th?
No,
Fifth.
the
Fifth.
second one's the 19th, that's,
Do we,
Well,
I
to
mean,
set up a webinar, which is what they wanted, that webinar, you could set that up and we could talk to Matt McEwen, get a little better feel for what's going on. We could do that sooner than
Right.
Right.
You guys getting the census and just get more facts before we go do that. So
Correct.
we could do something like that next week, probably.
Do we have to advertise that we're meeting on such a way for a webinar? Or
Are you
gathering
You're
information?
not
gonna do it
getting
during your
together.
regular meeting, or is it gonna be a
I mean, you
special?
can watch it from anywhere. so
Yeah,
it's
you're
technically-
watching it,
Oh.
you're not meeting, so, Tom, what do you think?
Yeah.
That's kind of an interesting, new point, but since you're not actually meeting together, you'd be watching it at home on your own individual computers, I wouldn't think you'd have to advertise that.
Rhonda?
Have you considered raising everybody's income to $30,000 so that they would qualify for the exchanges? And then therefore take the Washington County government out of dealing with their health care also? I mean, then they would qualify, if Obamacare really is gonna go through, then they would qualify for the subsidies. It would take it off your budget. They get $30,000 a year, plus insurance that only costs them $600 a year. Wouldn't that be something to look at also, since you're already spending $12,000 to $15,000, $17,000 a year per employee, raise their income so that they can qualify? Would that be a possibility? The only ones that really wouldn't be able to deal with that would be you guys.
Well,
You know?
where we're at, if we were to look at this pre-PRA, we're in that fourth, that would exactly do that.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing with the PRA.
PRA.
That's
But you wouldn't
exactly-
have to raise an income to make somebody eligible. Really, it would be, I mean, if you raise somebody's income, it would make them ineligible, because the more you make, the less subsidy you get.
No, really, literally, in Indiana, you do not get subsidized, you do not get to go on Medicaid if your income is below $30,000.
I think the Medicaid expansion and the subsidy under the Obamacare
Two different
marketplace are two different things.
Right.
So the Medicare expansion, or Medicaid rather, expansion is something Indiana didn't do, many states did. And so that's for even lower, but there are still subsidies for those who don't qualify
No.
based on income.
No, from what I found, what I've read, and what I've, what little is out there, there are no subsidies for anybody making less than $30,000. That's where the states were supposed to kick in. No, it doesn't. Well, it's government, kids.
I'm,
I mean,
I agree with you about that.
as the council, as president in there, and I would like to have some more information. I would like to hear from the webinar, I would like to hear that. But right now, as far as the other alternatives, so that we can all be thinking about this, I mean, this is my personal thought. I'm more in depth to the PRA at 4,000 per employee, and look at them being self-insured themselves on that, on those, looking at those type of things.
Yeah.
Because for one, that puts us within our budget guidelines in there, and then it also gives some guidance as far as the employees, as far as the direction they need to be going.
Yeah, I think we discussed it enough, and if you all can come next Monday with the county council, we'll give what they were asking, which is they can make a recommendation to us, and we'll decide on Tuesday which direction we're going to go.
I do have one last question. We're looking at a 2014 best estimate based on Kaiser website, and another variable is no penalties involved. Will there be a change come 2015? And
Well, the way it stands now, there were penalties would be in there from 2015.
penalties
Would-
for what? The fact that we as an employer aren't providing a group plan?
Correct.
Okay, so of that savings, if we were to continue this into the future, just keep that in the back of your mind,
That erodes that savings when you pay the penalty.
it erodes savings
Yes.
depending on what the penalty is going to be, and in years beyond that.
Yeah,
And
depending on how
unfortunately-
you feel about that, probably that penalty will get to a point where it wouldn't be cost effective. That's my guess, but that's a guess.
Well, it's supposed to incrementally increase.
Right. Well, but they still had a cap, but, I mean, I can't imagine that's gonna stay that way.
So this could be a very temporary
Yes.
decision we make.
Yes.
If we decided to go that route, it could be a
Yes.
very temporary thing as we kind of let the dust settle and reevaluate.
I just want to reiterate one time, you got to make sure that everything's
works.
going to come off as planned
Yeah.
January 1, if you go that way.
Well, I've got one other question.
We'll see that.
APEX
Currently-
would be more of a permanent plan than temporary, correct? Am I saying that?
Well, I don't know, we can work with the webinar, I mean, I don't know how soon you could put that together and stuff, you
I
probably,
would think we could do it later this week, even.
Okay.
But it's someone, it's a third party who's doing it, so they gotta talk to Matt.
it's up to them. The one thing about it is, currently with the employees that we've got right now, our insurance package is basically gonna take care of their needs and their medical expenses as of right now. We're making those things possible. You know, in this transition, and then with the employee, say that I'm sick today. I'm sick, and I'm asking both of you. I think I'm sick today, and I've got enough stress in my life right now. And I am going through this transitional period. And I'm wondering if I'm going to have insurance. Now, as far as insurance people, tell me what the status of my position is. Am I going to have insurance?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Is it going to be something comparable to what I'm doing right now?
Yes.
In our scenario, your benefits wouldn't change.
All right. So as we go through this transition, you know, going through the illness and stuff and going through the January 1 or whatever the government wants to put on these timelines, I'm going to be able to move through this system, get treatment, get doctor care without a hitch.
No more hitch than normal. I mean, whenever you're in a stressful situation like that, there's always.
Well, I understand.
Right,
But I need to know, have a little bit of foundation comfort.
right.
But you're saying that everything has to be in place before January 1 of 2014?
Correct.
I mean, if it's a couple of days after that,
No.
first 2 days, you're not getting your
Okay.
Okay.
As far as the council, do you want to have a motion to have this webinar and sent to us as quickly as possible?
Do we need a motion to do that?
Don't need, I mean, if you want it, just tell them you want it, and they can,
Consensus standpoint, we want it.
I think the easiest way probably would be for them to email Michelle, and with whatever, you know, password and sign on and that type, you know, the link, and Michelle, you can then forward that link to the county council. You have all of their emails, except I think maybe, you got them all, okay. Whether he'll look at it or not, whether one will actually use his email, but the other 6 will know what to tell him, so, yeah. You can forward that link. Yeah, no, we're meeting Monday, so the quicker the better, and that's,
Well, we want
Sorry.
to do, Michelle, you got ours?
well, sure.
Sarah's got, we've got them all.
So, that's probably the way to do it.
She's got them, Sarah's got
Got it, yeah. Yeah, you could send it to both, and that would, yeah, that would work.
Sarah, I'll just give them the Gmail.
Well, I think that as far as ours concern is that, you know, as far as look at this Apex, we'll look at this other project, but as far as making a decision, boy, I would love to make a decision today. I hate kicking cans down the road.
You can't, because you don't have enough.
We're gonna have to, in there, to look at some more, things in there, you know, and, get more information before we can make this decision.
One more comment and we'll quit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just have one question. I do not carry the county health insurance. I have worked with Aetna before, so I'm not familiar. My one question is, if y'all decide to flip from them to them, my question is, where does the clinic come in place for the county employees? And also, if you stay with them, how does, and I think I kind of sort of got it, they can still choose to go to the clinic, but if they chose to go to an outside personal doctor, your little $4,000, that's where they use their money to go use their copay
Premium,
premium?
premium only.
Okay, because I'm dealing with all this insurance with my husband's insurance, and his is large. His is large. And we don't go through this battle like we're doing at this county level. It's smooth as X-lax, we'll put it that way. So, yeah, so I'm kind of curious, and for the county, other employees who do have it, where does this insurance play into y'all's clinic? And if it does?
We work with all clinics.
Okay.
Nothing would change on that.
So they can still choose. I wanted to question, because I only listen to people.
Let me interject there.
Okay.
In a very real sense, the clinic is a whole separate, I'm saying this because I want the employees to understand. We're contractually obligated with the clinic
Right.
outside of any plan. So again, when we're talking healthcare cost in our budget, that clinic is part of that healthcare cost that we're just paying straight out of county general fund.
And well, I have another question, because I just hear people complaining all the time. A lot of people don't like the clinic. I hear a lot of gripes and moans and groans and complaints. Is that a majority, or is that just a minority?
I would
Does
hope
anybody
that'd
know?
be a minority, because
Is
this
the
is
minority
something that's
griping?
been proven in the past to upgrade the health.
Well, that's why I'm asking, because I don't use it. I just hear what people say.
Well,
I like the
most
clinic.
people,
I like
I
it.
think, do use it, and they should use it, and that's the benefit.
I know that's the purpose of it, go there instead of your regular doctor.
That's the
I
benefit
understand
of the
that.
county quality of health. We have one more comment from Diane, and we're gonna move on.
As far as the voucher, 3, 4, 5,000, if you get that voucher, can you take that to any insurance company?
Spouses or wherever you wanna take
Well, it's
it.
reimbursement. It's not that they'll know it, it's a reimbursement. So you can take it anywhere.
Right.
And then if nothing's settled, if we don't have any insurance,
You'll have insurance.
okay, but if we didn't have any insurance, don't you have to have insurance and then it's 30 days before it goes into effect? Or does it go into effect right that day?
Well, the county's not gonna go without insurance.
Okay.
I mean, you can just bank on that. You will have insurance. Even if it's the same plan you have now, you will have insurance. So don't worry about not having insurance.
And January the 1st will be the date.
If you go to the exchanges, January 1st will be the date that your effective date will be.
If you're enrolled
Same way as
by.
that. If you move to Apex, January 1st will be effective. You will not have insurance.
Well, I just wanted to know, as far as the vouchers, if we could
And
go
then we push
anywhere
that
we
back.
You can go
wanted
anywhere you
to.
want.
Yeah,
Because
they're
Spouses or wherever.
You can go to your spouse, you can go to,
March the 31st.
you go down the street, you can go to Indianapolis, you can go wherever you want to go.
This
Right.
per person.
No, Mark, if, say, you want to go to another insurance company, and say that insurance company, her bill's gonna come up $3,700, and we fix it $4,000, what happens to the remaining $300?
So that goes back to,
Reverts back to the county.
Back to the
that
county.
goes back to the county.
You understand?
Yes,
So whatever amount.
right.
$300 to the county.
That's why, in a way, picking a higher number really doesn't hurt you to a certain degree. It's just the calculator I use, I don't know the individual family situations. I don't know total income, family, and all that.
Well, number one, if you knew that number when you're figuring the budget out, would definitely help you. Number two, if that money comes back, then it's gonna be a positive on your side.
Correct.
I mean, if
So
you can
that
save on
would be good.
$3,700,
Right.
but then if they cost $5,200,
Then it's
then
out
it
of
goes
your
the other
pocket.
way. But $5,200 for the insurance is even still better than what we got today.
Right.
It's not better than what we had 10 years ago, but it's a thing we're all gonna have to live with. So that's trying to find the best possible scenario for everybody. And to me, I like the solid number.
Okay, we're gonna move on, and,
Yes.
Bill passes.
Voucher thing, so if, let's say an employee decides to take his $4,000 or $5,000, whatever number you come up with, and you're talking about giving a $4,000 or $5,000 voucher to them, but what happens from a tax standpoint with that?
It's taxable.
Taxable.
Absolutely.
So we'll have to pay
Absolutely,
taxes
so
on
now all of a
that
sudden, you
$5,000.
haven't taken taxes out $5,000, now you got a real mess at the end of the year for these people. Everybody.
Because we're gonna have to pay taxes on
But
it.
if we
That's not
do
good.
it the way we're doing it now, only you enroll in this program and every month, $200 comes out to pay your health insurance. You don't pay taxes, do you? You don't pay taxes on that. Correct. So you're fixing to take everybody that makes $30,000, add $4,000 or $5,000 of income, and Uncle Dudley's gonna want about 30% of that back in the year. It's a real issue.
Unfortunately, Claude, I think that's the issue that's at hand with the care right now, because we're having 150 employees and above in 2013 had to report that health insurance expenditure on the W-2 forms for the individuals. So that's being set up right now. Unfortunately, health care as a benefit is going to be charged back to the taxpayer. And that, so your scenario is very true. And I saw this thing going about 2 years ago whenever they sent out the memo that it would be 150 employees and above, it had to be reported on the W-2s. 150 employees below 2014, it has to be reported on W-2s. I don't think Uncle Sam's got that on there just for information only.
Well, I'm just saying, I just want to make you take somebody who makes $30,000 a year and you add $4,000 or $5,000 to their income and you don't tax it. You're in trouble.
Well, they're going to have to pay for it someplace because I haven't seen that cloud with that money tree in it yet.
Okay, we're gonna move on, and thank everybody for your contribution. Phil has something he would like to bring up this time.
Yeah. Wait a minute, we need a motion to adjourn and we'll get out of here.
We'll let you go ahead.
Okay.
Do we have a motion to adjourn the council?
I make that motion.
Okay, Jonathan Spall's made the motion. Do we have a second? Ben, second. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same. Motion carried. County council is closed. Commissioners, continue.
Thank you for being with us. This time, folks, we'll make presentations about the...
It'll be the one time.
Specific time.
Yeah.
Won't be delayed.
I think we might be able to do this right now.
I took Claude a week ago.
Yeah, it'll just be the one.
And met with Jim Freeman,
But
the ambulance
you
service
can
over
watch
there.
it from anywhere, as long as you get
He's
the link,
with,
and be in your
our
office.
ABS, the billing company for Scottsburg.
You gotta sign
And it runs some reports showing.
No, it's not that kind. It'll be like you just click on the link and you'll
Pretty
get it.
well a mirror
Thanks.
image of each other. Scott County, right now, the way our contract states, in the ambulance service, we're paying $280,000 for Knox County on our ambulance service. Out of that $280,000, right now we're facing a $65,000 chassis change is going to be the minimum cost against the ambulance. That according to our contract that we have to take care of. My understanding, and I don't know what happened, what transpired back when it was all done, something about we didn't have the numbers fast enough, so therefore they got Knox County in to run the ambulance service. And right now, we're paying $280,000 to a firm to run. We're furnishing a building. Personnel is basically all from our county. They are paying it. We pay major expenses, they pay minor. And I don't understand this. But if we turn around and took that 280 and put back into running it ourselves, we would have more to show for ourselves than what we got now. We talked to the district man, David Murphy over there. They started 12 years ago, 2005, running this, and so forth. They've yet to run in the red there. Raymond Jones was a councilman that started this. He was a councilman over there and showed the positive side of it. I think we need to consider taking back the ambulance service and putting that money back into our general fund and operating it there to where we've got something to show for at the end. Claude?
Well, with what I was involved with, as you said, when you look at the whole numbers, the total numbers, county size, total runs, cost for runs, what you run into is we are more lucrative than Scott County is because we live in an area where we have a, and I forget what they called our hospital, but basically serious people get, if you're serious, you get transferred out. And so we have more running miles for that. You pay a lot more money for that. We're a larger population. Everything about Washington County is about 13 to 14% better than what Scott County is. Doing the exact same thing. They do exactly the same thing. They have 2 full-time crews. They have an on-call crew, and they have a 4th truck. It's exactly what we do. From a standpoint of money, and this is what really bothers me, is, we've never even rebid this thing. Knox County took it. We pay them $280,000 a year, and we furnish them with 4 vehicles, and basically, major repair. I think we got an ambulance right now, it's gonna cost about $65,000 to fix, and you guys are gonna have to pay for that. But Orange County, or Scott County on the other hand, and here's to me the big rub on it, we have been fortunate to not be in this situation, that the reason why Scott County is in the situation they're in is because they've had about 4 different ambulance companies over there. And 2 of them just basically called them up and said, hey, by the way, we're not going to do Menace in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And so they've had to rumble around and try to find somebody. And they were in a worse situation than we are right now, because when they got thrown in this in 2005, they didn't have no ambulances. So they had a great expenditure that they had to come up with. So I think, number one, that our ambulance service before was only getting $65,000 a year before the hospital decided to throw it. Before we lost the hospital, and back in the day when we actually had Washington County Hospital, we done all right. And then St. Vincent's took it and they decided they didn't want an ambulance service in there. And so they put us out the door. I think Tom was involved in that. They just sent you a thing and said, that's it. On such and such date, we're done. And so that left the commissioners in a mess. They had very little time to do anything but contract with somebody. Knox County came in, I think it's 2 or 3 others that showed interest, but only 2 bid. Is that right, Tom? Or no, only 1 bid.
I don't remember how many bid.
I think they were the only ones that would take it, they were the only ones that would take it on.
But I think that, in my opinion, you ought to look at what you're doing. I think you you ought to look at what, anytime you're paying money for a service, that you ought to check and see if there's other service out there and in this scenario, next year, we're gonna pay something over $314,000 for an ambulance service with nothing in return.
Right. We're a large county, so mileage too would be in our favor.
Mileage is in our favor, and the care, what I got from it is like if you're transferred from Salem to like Jewish or Floyd County or that's where the real money in the ambulance service comes in, because it's the quality of that transport. It's like $14, $15 a mile. And the higher the level of care is, the more you get paid. And if you looked at those, and we did look at those, it's more attractive to us than it is to Scott County, and they're not using any tax money, none. Councilman's sitting right there, they haven't used any tax money to operate that service in years.
That's good.
So, I mean, they're not using any. It's self-sustained, it's loaded heavier than ours, if you take a pure look at it, because they got more people. They got the same number of people doing the operation, but the administration's loaded a lot heavier than what maybe it needs to be. That's just my opinion, but they don't look at it that, yeah.
My question is, administration part of the ambulance service.
If you go through
What
ABS,
type of mechanism we got?
if you go through,
Basically what you have, and what, in the conversation that we've done there, basically what you do is you have a company that actually does your billing service for you. They do it all. You don't do any of it. The biller that they use provides you with everything. Laptops with all that program in it. They do the same thing they're doing on paper now. When the ambulance comes out, they take down all this information and they ship it over to somebody who bills for Knox County. Well, in their scenario with Scott County over there, they got one of these notebook things like David's got, which the biller provides. And you input all that information into that, and then basically it sends it to the billing company, which collects the money, which the money is wired, from the vendors, comes into your checking account, which they would have a standalone checking account. So would have their own money outside the general fund of the county. It would be things that they reimburse the county for, such as insurance. They pay all that. They pay their portion of the insurance. They pay their portion of all the insurance. They pay that stuff themselves. They're a standalone, kind of like maybe, I don't know.
They take care of all the Medicaid, Medicare,
Yes,
and all that
yes.
stuff.
yes.
They take care of everything.
But they are, and I didn't ask them this, I assume they're county employees over there, just like it used to be here. When they county employees back in the day, were they hospital employees? They were hospital employees. But I think they're county employees over there, but it's kind of like y'all do the park out there. You got a park fund, and basically the park has to reimburse you for help. 911. There, that's more of an accurate, would be more of an accurate description. 911, you have a fund, and all this money is paid. The county actually employs those people, but the money comes from 911 to pay everything about it, correct? So that's the way they're operating. Do what you want with it. It's your all's deal, it's not mine, but I think that my personal opinion, we could take, the first year's probably not gonna save the county money, because you're gonna spend that $288,000 for startup costs and things like that. But if you only ended up spending $50,000 or $60,000 a year or $70,000 a year to operate your ambulance service, you'd still be saving $200,000, wouldn't you? Because we're paying $280 plus any kind of major things that would happen.
Let me interject. I'm going to slightly disagree with your numbers, I think, because those aren't our employees and they would become our employees. So as a result, we would take on and add to our payroll with benefits and all that, all the ambulance personnel.
I agree with you, Tom, but we'd also take on the income to pay that with. Right now, we're not getting anything for our $280,000. Nothing but a depreciating ambulance.
Okay. And do you remember, Sarah, what we were paying Jewish Hospital I was thinking it was $65,000 a quarter, not a year.
65, no.
It was every quarter we wrote them.
$65,000 a year.
Because
We're paying more than that.
we were paying substantially more. In fact, when Knox County came in, it was a cut. They came in and proposed 171, 173, whatever. It was going to be substantial savings. And the ambulance personnel came in and said, oh, and they provided the ambulances. But our ambulance employees came in and said, oh, don't do that. They pay their employees less, there's no benefits, and we don't like their trucks, we like ours. And we let the tail wag the dog to some extent out of empathy for our employees. But as my recollection, and maybe Sarah and I were the only two who were here at the time. But Dave, were you here when that happened?
Yeah.
And, because I can remember it actually all started back when we were in the courthouse basement, and Jewish was supposed to provide us with updated numbers and change the amount, but as I recall, Knox County came in and their number was lower, and we said, okay, can you give us a new number, providing our employees with health insurance and the wages they're currently receiving? And that's when the larger number came out. So I have no doubt that this operation could be run cheaper, because I know Knox County would do it for cheaper if we followed their model, because they had a model that they brought in that they do in several areas. And so I'm all for, I really agree, this thing always needs to be looked at, and we should be looking at it, or you should be looking at it as well. My concern was, I didn't even think about, when Commissioner Marshall brought this up, I didn't even think about that third-party billing service. My concern was the administration of it. How in the world are we going to take that on ourselves? But if there's third parties out there that we can contract with who'll take care of that, I think that's definitely something to take a look at.
This ABS, I would highly recommend we can bring them in and talk to them. But my next problem
He can
is,
explain this to you a lot
Yeah,
better.
that would
He done
be-
a comparison between the counties.
Jim,
One thing I like about that company, and obviously they like about them over there, is they have a fixed rate, and they don't collect a nickel if they don't collect. If we don't collect, they don't collect, and they provide us with all the hardware, software, whatever you want to call that stuff.
Isn't it kind of based on your runs, that's how they get?
They get a percentage of what you get paid. They get a percentage, they have a billing percentage. So if you get paid $100,000, and their percentage is 5%, they get $5,000.
Okay,
If you collect,
okay.
and I think their percentage is 5 or 6% of what you collect. You don't collect nothing, you don't collect for something.
6.5,
Okay, so
only on collected amounts.
yeah, but they provide you with all the, everything is provided. He also told us that some billing companies have their own program, and by using that, you're kind of stuck with them. But they use some kind of national program, so that if you decide you don't want them, you have to buy your own stuff, but you're still hooked into the to the standardized forms. Like all your information still be there.
We're basically doing 4,000, we're 27,000 population where they are. Basically, both of us are running around, well, I think right now they're at
Between 3,000 and 4,000 runs a year. I mean, everything is uniform. I will tell you this too, and you'll remember this, Tom, one of the advantages of having the ambulance service where the ambulance service is some rate adjustments that you're actually eligible for, or if you maintain your ambulance service out of the hospital, it's very little. You remember that conversation
Yeah.
we had? And so, and they're maintained basically that way as well as we would be now if we took it over, and that would be outside the hospital.
That was, I think, one of the reasons St. Vincent, it didn't fit into their cost reimbursement basis. They at least wanted to get it out of the hospital.
I think that was their whole deal. They wanted it out of there because they don't, from what that guy was telling us, St. Vincent's doesn't like ambulance service. Everywhere they go and take over, and when I say that,
Yeah.
they don't own ambulance services. I should restate that.
Or operate.
They operate them. They want somebody else to come, rural metro or somebody like that, to come in and just take that ambulance service. They don't want that. And so I think that's what they done to us. They said, we don't want this thing, get it out of here.
I think at the time when the hospital didn't want it anymore, I think there were two proposals. One was from a local person, if you remember. And that person, I think, the county commissioners at that time realized that probably what was proposed wasn't going to be really.
There was two, but that was, the other one was from a company that was gonna come in and run it for us for a period of time till we could get run it ourselves, but their numbers.
That's
were-
right, there was one of those, I forgot.
Yeah, I think that's what I think
I
that
do
was the
remember
other
that.
proposal, was they would come in and they would manage this thing for us for 6 months. And then at the end of 6 months, we would run it ourselves, but I think maybe their numbers were thought to be real high, and so we didn't do it.
Yeah, yes, yes.
Because that one
I
person
remember.
couldn't really do it what he proposed.
I don't remember an individual, but I
Yeah.
do remember Yost County, and there was another county up this way that said, hey, we'll come in, we'll manage this thing for 6 months, but the money they wanted was pretty simple.
But it was underestimated, and they were going to come back and get some more money. Because I was here the day that we discussed with the commissioners.
But I can tell you that in our deal over there, what we did find out is they're almost a mirror image of each other. And even in the type runs and everything, and they're doing theirs for no tax money. Now, I don't know if the incomes were compared, you know, as what our people made. I think they were.
He run a survey for me. Jim, he run a survey. We're actually,
I'm not talking about people's incomes, I'm talking about, Tom brought up an issue also about what benefits and payroll was given to the Scott County guys or gals. But I don't know if we had any discussion about that. But I was of the impression that they're consistent with what we're doing right now.
Payroll-wise.
Payroll-wise.
And our contract is up,
February 1st, notification. We have 90 days to notify them. So if we're going to do this, then we do need to make a motion and notify them. It's February 1st. February 1st is when your
At
contract.
least, I don't know why you wouldn't, this is just me. I don't know why you wouldn't at least put them on notice that you intend to look at taking it over yourself or giving it to them, you know?
I think that would be the wisest.
well, and I really think the ambulance repair thing is something, regardless of what happens, if we can't get up and running on an alternative program, they came in, their initial plan was not to use our ambulances. That's something that we threw it back at them saying, based on the feedback, as I recall, maybe my memory's faulty, but I thought.
I don't remember that.
Their
I
question
just
is right
remember
now,
them for-
when are we going to get this truck fixed? Now, the cheapest way we could do is re-chassis at $65,000, or we can buy a new ambulance for $200,000. But we need to get something done according to our contract, and they're asking.
My understanding is that ambulance box is in good repair.
Right.
And you don't need
I
a
have no
box.
idea where in the world you're gonna pay for it out of.
Well, on the $65,000, I did talk to First Harrison Bank. Now, you've got $280,000 that normally goes to Knox County on a monthly payment of $23,333. If we have to replace this, then I suggest we use that 23,000 and make payments on the repair of the ambulance next year.
So you're saying do the loan?
Well, that's fine, but then you
Well-
really don't know what the cost of this is gonna be next year when you go take it over.
You're working kind of on a blind side in a certain way.
You
Right
may be
now,
paying
you know, right now,
$300,000 or more for
right
an
now, you
ambulance.
know you're gonna pay $280,000 next year.
Yeah,
You know you're gonna pay $65,000 next year for that ambulance. That's in your contract. You are gonna fix that ambulance. And that's the cheapest way out for it. Now, do we do it with them, for them, or do we do it for us? That's my question. Which way do we wanna go? Now, the thing of it is here, in all importance, I think we do need to notify that we need to look at it or rebid it. But there's nothing saying they're gonna do it for $280,000. Right now, you're on a contract to them, but they may come back to you and say they want $320,000. And then where do we come up with $320,000? We're at $280,000, we've got control of it. We're back in control. According to ABS, they're furnishing your billing. They're saying normally Medicare is 120 days. Normally what they end up receiving is 60 days. We do have to get one of our ambulances certified to Homeland Security to get this in play. That takes about 30 days. We need one ambulance to have certified. Personnel-wise, we are okay on personnel. I feel like they'll probably move over to us that are all from this county.
Phil,
Yeah,
what's the payroll?
46,000 a month, I think it is what they run out there, right? Well, no, 46,000.
Yeah, I think you're pretty close, 46, 47,000.
I was thinking that's what I had. I've got some other expenses in this contract that could cut out. We took the high end of expenses and the low end of income, and we still come out to our benefit.
yeah, yeah. Right, right. Yeah. And for a while we went over that.
I wanna put this in a motion. The only thing I'm seeing here is what I'm hearing on as far as income of the thing. Our payroll's $46,000 a month, but during that month, say we're making 3,000 to 4,000 runs a year, correct?
Right.
So during that month, you're probably bringing in close to that amount in 1 month.
We're probably gonna run
Okay.
over, but taking those numbers,
On top
right?
of that, though, we've been shelling out 280,000 on top of it, okay? So I'm looking at the expenses, is what I'm looking at. I know right off the bat, it's gonna be a little tight, so we're gonna have to go, I agree with the first Harrison. We need to set up a line of credit to where we can take care of the
Right.
fourth ambulance. But the 280,000 coming, that we won't be spending out,
Right.
will help cover some of this other cost
Right.
too. So
I
I
think,
see that right now, we're gonna have to make a motion today to go ahead and review Knox County contract, plus look at options on where we're going from here, okay? Because we got 90 days to get this done, right?
right.
Or they have to be
No,
notified.
we got 90 days, but yes,
Okay, I'm gonna put that in the motion.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and review the Knox County contract.
Yeah, well, we're gonna get them a letter. I'm making a motion that we get them that letter, because that'll give us within the 90 days period.
Did you look at this?
Then we can start reviewing all this stuff.
Dave? Did you
If we don't notify them within 90 days, is that correct, that we're stuck with them for another year? It wouldn't matter.
Well, it wouldn't matter at that point, as long as they'll do it for the 280.
Right.
Now, if they want to raise.
Hey, you guys done with me?
Thank you,
Claude.
Claude.
Thanks, Claude.
How many
many employees are there?
26.
Okay. Their benefit package, their insurance package is considerably less than what the county has.
Yeah, but right now, Rhonda, in all honesty, with the numbers I've got, they're pretty well gonna pay they're gonna pay everything out there. They're
Even
making-
with $12,000 or $15,000 extra in insurance
The
premiums?
first 6 months, we're looking at probably 120 days is what they're telling me to get Medicare coming in from the runs. But the first 6 months is where I'm hurting to get it. But yet, we're gonna pay in January $23,000 of the first payment out of the 280, so it's gonna go away. But then from that point on, of the 280, from this point on, that goes back to us. That's what the county has established, we're gonna furnish to do this. But after this, and if we go with the ABS billing, if we wanna go to our self-billing, the software
No,
package.
there's no way we do self-building, I'm gonna tell you that now. There's
what?
nobody qualified to do it.
No, I'm saying, if you was, and you was to buy your own and put up, boy, you'd be looking at 85,000 just for the software. They'll furnish you the right software. They'll furnish the iPads, 4 of them for 4 ambulances. Then when they go out on a run, they type in it, and it's signed. And at that point, either if they don't have a signal or if they do have a signal, and theirs are better than my iPad, it automatically sends it to the billing goes in, and it's filed right away.
Well, what I'm saying, though, is per employee, their benefit package as employees of this other ambulance service is a lot less than what our insurance, as far as the county goes. I mean, that's my understanding. And I just want to go ahead and put that forward and see if you can go ahead and make sure that when you add 20-some employees, that they don't cost, are they going to cost a considerably, huge amount more because they're becoming employees of the county?
At this point, I think the best thing we can do is set up a committee or a commission, basically of probably a medical, probably a paramedic, probably a county police officer, probably a fire department, one commissioner, maybe a couple of councilmen, to sit down and then get all this together in the next 30 days. But I think notification to them that we are looking at it needs to be done. But at this point, it's going to
Which is
take a
what
committee.
we're trying to do right now.
Right.
I mean, I just want to make sure, and not that I want to take benefits away from them or anything, but you're seeing a lower cost because that's what they did to them, was take benefits away. So please keep that in mind when you do discuss it.
Okay, I'm making a motion this letter go ahead and be sent out to Knox County.
Well, before you do that, let Tom, as attorney, if we got all our dots and
Before we
i's,
sign it,
let Tom look at it. I asked you your opinion before.
looks good to me. It's pretty short and blunt, and we're gonna just review it. Whether or not we keep Knox County, or whether or not we go independent, but this letter has to be the first step in what we need to do.
I just want to make
This
sure.
needs to go
This
out.
says non-renewal, so this same as saying we're canceling the contract, the way that's stated.
Do I need to change
So
that?
we probably need to change the wording of the contract. That's the ones we're terminating with them, the way I understand it.
Well, we're gonna discuss it.
But we,
That doesn't, that's the caution, but that doesn't prevent, I don't think Knox County, if we, as we
they would have a
look at.
chance to rebid, but
Yeah, I mean, and I think talking about vehicles and maintenance and responsibilities is something they would be very open to. If we went down this road and saw, oh, we just can't do this time, let's look at it for next year, I really think we could work something out with Knox County for another year, and sending that's probably fine. We might want to start with a phone call or an email as a polite heads up and say, you're receiving this in the mail, and here's our intention. I really think that kind of softens the blow and gives us an opportunity to renegotiate, keep the door open. Because when, if you just mail something like that, and there's absolutely no communication, I think that's a faux pas.
Okay, Dave wants to make the motion.
I thought you already made a motion.
You
I
want
made a
me-
motion.
Okay.
I was waiting on a second.
Philip
I second it.
Oh,
Okay, all those in favor, raise your right hand. All right, let's send her down.
Now,
Give them their 90-day notice. Gerald, do you have anything? I'm going to send the president of the state one. Philip and I had a birthday yesterday, celebration.
4 copies.
Got a birthday card from President Obama.
yeah, well, good.
Sarah will need one.
Yeah. Tell me who I got one from. Only one I got one from my wife. Our attorney did one with them, that's one. Did you get one from our attorney?
No.
Get one more.
He
We had birthdays
He didn't
yesterday.
even know it.
Both of us.
You both have birthdays the same day?
Yep.
Did you celebrate together?
Dave? I would really have to make a motion to set up a employee different one. I think we need to go ahead and set up a committee on this to be redone. I'm saying one person can't do it. Can't help.
I agree with that.
Could you come back with some names for me?
I'd recommend you keep it pretty small, like Claude, Dave, and Troy. I think someone from the ambulance service themselves.
Oh, that's Troy, if he'd be interested.
Claude, you and Troy, Claude, Dave, and Troy, whatever commissioner wants to be.
Well, we need somebody from the council.
I'd kind of like to have it, yeah. Would you serve on that committee? You was kind of involved with it. Would you serve on this committee?
Part of you.
Yes, you did.
I'd be glad to serve on that committee if the council approves me. I can't just say yes to that.
Well, surely they will, Ben. Gee
Well, you
whiz.
never know about that, bud.
I'd like to ask somebody in the medical,
Well, what I'm saying is, the whole council needs to make the decision. I'll volunteer to do it, but they need to approve me to do it.
okay,
All fairness to them.
okay.
Well, I think there's nothing wrong with going ahead and appointing a committee of 4 people, subject to the council ratifying your, because I think meeting needs to start immediately, start working on this.
Well, I think so. Well, Linda brought up some points there a while ago. Now, some of that's been addressed already, Rhonda. That pay deal, the like item deals. I mean, it's good that you brought it up, but that's something we were looking at anyway, was what's it gonna cost us if we do this?
Right.
That's the question. And some of that's already been considered, but it's good you brought it up.
Thank
And, another thing I want to mention, Tom mentioned that fact about a phone call. Is somebody going to make that phone call? I mean, are you all going to?
I'd be happy to.
Tom to
I
do
mean-
that, I didn't hear anybody do that, so I'm just
Yeah,
asking.
I-
I'm asking if that's something you'd want to consider doing as a commission.
So you're gonna call Knox County, Tom, and
Yes.
What's his name?
Steve McClure.
Steve.
Or you guys can, I don't.
Sarah does.
I'm just gonna put one in the file that I have.
So do you want me to call Steve McClure? Or would-
Yeah,
would
go
you like
ahead.
to do it? Okay.
You know it.
Okay, who do you recommend for the committee, Phil, besides yourself?
Ben Bullock.
Ben?
I'd like to ask probably Mark Manship. Troy Nichols.
Nicholson.
Nicholson or
Nicholson.
Nicholson? Nicholson. I'll ask him.
What about Claude?
Claude Combs, ask him.
Does that make 5?
Is that okay?
That'll do it. You either
I don't think we'll
conflict
get it any bigger than that.
Okay.
and break it, if,
Now, this committee is strictly a study
Right,
on what can be done with both.
right.
Okay?
right.
You know, we'll have to review Knox County's contract plus the other.
Right.
Okay,
Everything comes back to the commissioners.
okay.
I did have Bob Woodard as a treasurer yesterday. Talked to Adrian Brown, and then I talked to Adrian Brown, and First Harrison said to tell us that they was on board if we need to do this. So,
Make a motion in that committee to be,
I make a motion.
name and names.
Ben Bulling, Mark Manship, Claude Combs, Troy Nicholson, and myself.
Second.
All those in favor of that committee recommendation, Phil, raise your right hand. You are officially on there.
That's just what I wanted, John.
You didn't tell me about the pay.
Ben told me that all tips don't come in until the end of the year. Thank you.
Before we close, I will say that we had River Hills meeting last Thursday night down in Jeffersonville. Gordon Pelton, who's one of the county councilmen, I think Ben remembers Gordon.
Oh, yeah.
He's also on the River Hills Executive Board. And Gordon told me something was made about, comment about Riverboat money. He just have a clear blue sky. Told me, he said, you're the only county that's ever said a thank you for the money that comes from Harrison County. So on November the, I guess it'd be the 18th, they meet the first and third Mondays. The county council's already made up their letter. We have to take to them and set up like we did last year. Bill Ryan's ones who can make it. And I feel like it's probably, if they all come to the meal with things made in Washington County, we probably need about $300. So whatever is needed to be made up, I'll make that up myself so we can do it. So Monday at your council meeting, you only meet once a month. Have David or you or somebody email if they forgot, for the ones that want to make a donation at the county council. And we've got,
I can bring it up at the next meeting.
we got time for us to make ours. If there's nothing else, we entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. Thank you.
Second.